Good morning and welcome to today's live. We're going to be talking about the importance of brand in workplace design. Now, what I often find is when I start working with clients is that they're very adept at giving me their PMS colors and their logo so that they can start to build out their brand persona for us with the workplace design, because often people think that whatever their brand colors are is what that they should be putting into their workplace environment. So let's say their logo is red, they feel like their workplace should therefore be red in order to represent their brand. But what I want to talk about is the fact that our workplaces and our brand is so much more than just that logo and that suite of PMS colors. The brand is all about the experience of actually working with you as an organization, who you are, what you represent, and how you want to be known and what you want to give out into the world. And your brand is so much more than just your logo, and it's so much more than just those PMS colors. It's really about what it is that you want to be doing in the world and how you want to be showing up. And it's more than just about making money. It's what is the reason that we're actually in business. It's, what do you want to be known for and how do you want to project what you do as an organization out into the world, and what is the impact that you want to have on people? And so it's often been said that brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And that's one of those things. It's what that lasting legacy is. And how do you want people to feel about doing business with you? How do you want them to think about you when you're not around? And what do you want them to associate you with? And so one of the things that I start to talk about a lot is about how our purpose shows up in our business. So what is it that we want to be known for? So what is the purpose? Why do we exist? What makes us get out of bed every day and makes us want to come to work? And what is it, the lasting legacy that we're going to be having on people around us? And so I often talk about this concept called ikigai. Now, ikigai is a Japanese philosophy, and it's all about your reason for being. So what is it that you exist to do, and how do you want to show up in the world? And that's really what our purpose is all about. And it starts with that. And it is really beyond what making money is. Money is actually a byproduct of what our businesses are here to do. And so when we can find what our reason for being is, and we can bring that out into the world and we can share that, that's when we can start to find what our unique difference is and the impact that we can then want to have make. So I often have this concept that's being tied back to your personal story. So how did the business begin? What were the catalyst moments that created the business, and how did it evolve, and what did it come to be? And if you start to dig back, you'll start to find that even some of those struggles and the things that we've been through to create our businesses, that's really about the essence. That's that personal story, and it brings those elements of who we are as an organization much more to life. And so when we can start to feel like that, we're started to then start to see what we're inspired about, why we exist. What is it that we want to be doing? And so if I go back and I look at why COMUNiTI was originally started, it was because I wanted people to love going to work as much as I do. So I wanted to be able to create environments that people loved going to work in, that they felt enthusiastic about showing up to every day, and it felt great to actually go to work. And so that's my thing that I wanted to give to the world, and that's how I wanted our brand to show up. So I want people to enjoy working with us, and I want them to enjoy the experience that we bring when we create a workplace for them. And I want to be able to understand what it is that's unique about their business so that I can bring that to life for them, and so that their employees absolutely love coming to work, because it is a beautiful place for them to work in. And that story might be all about this hardship and the struggle that you've gone, the fight that you had to put in to get where you are today, all of those things that have actually founded the business and made it stronger as a result of that. And all of this ties back into the personality of your business. It's the image that actually company wishes to project and to portray who they are. So, are you a casual and laid back organization? Are you really professional and polished? Maybe you are much more feminine, and so therefore you're wanting to give out a very female type persona when you're working with you. Or maybe you're quite masculine. Maybe you're really more dark and moody and very strong and secure. Maybe that's the relationship that you want to be projecting out to your clients, and all of these things are representative of your brand. Maybe you're really energetic, you're vibrant, and you're fun. Or maybe you're really solid and you're quite sophisticated. Maybe you're really quite traditional, or maybe you're really edgy and cutting edge on there and you want to be seen as a bit more funky and that you're on the leading front of where things are going as an organization. Maybe you're a rule follower and maybe that's the way that your organization needs to be, or maybe you're a bit of a rebel. So all of these types of things start to feed into the personality of your business, and therefore they're actually representative of your brand. Now, there's a lot of different tools available to help you actually understand who you are as a brand. You've got Carl Jung's archetypes, so they start to look at whether you're a ruler or a rebel or you're the everyman. So there's some of the tools that you can start to look at. And when you uncover those, it actually gives you a language. It helps you understand how you need to connect with your audience and your customers and what it is that they're looking at from you and how you're going to be attracting them. There's other tests as well, such as the brand fascination test. I'll pop some of these links into the comments so that you can have a look at these and then start to decipher what kind of brand actually starts to represent you and how you want to connect with your clients. But what you want to do is it helps you actually frame the persona of your brand and the things that you want to help connect with your audience and your clients and even your employees. So when you can start to show up as your organization and so people can understand who you are and how they want to connect with you and how they'd like to engage with you. The things that are going to attract and draw people in. So when we can start to become a magnet, we can actually attract people and we can pull them towards you so that they can associate with you because they like you, they see themselves in your brand, and they can be familiar with your brand. By doing these brand personality tests, it can also help you articulate who you are. And sometimes we often struggle with how we can actually represent our brand and what we want to look like, but all of these things start to come through. So what I want us to do is when you know this and you're clear, you can actually start to think about how you want people to feel when they work with you. Do you want them to feel safe? Do you want them to feel welcomed? Do you want them to feel warm, confident? Are they trusting? Are they energized? Do they feel like they can take risks with you? Now, all of these are different words that bring up different feelings and different emotions, and they're all going to be really different depending on the type of brand that you are and how you want your audience and your customers and your employees to connect with you. So they're going to be really, really different depending on who your brand is and who your ideal client is. But then we want to actually think about how this shows up in a tangible and physical way. So one of the best examples that I can give you is when we worked with Hall Chadwick. Now, Hall Chadwick are an accounting company, and they've got really strong roots back to Longreach in Western Queensland, where they came from 40 years earlier. Now, they've got clients who are very strong in that rural sector. They've also got many of the directors that have come from rural Queensland, and they've also got quite a number of employees that have come from that space as well. And so what we wanted to do is tie those really strong country values that made up the actual fabric of that organisation into their physical environment. Now, this is another really great example of if we'd taken their logo and their PMS colours and we just infused that into the corporate workplace environment, what we would have ended up with is a very maroon looking and white looking environment, because that is their corporate colours. Now, there's nothing wrong with infusing those colours, but is that encapsulating the whole brand? Is it telling the whole story? Is it getting people to have a sense of what it's like to do business with you when they walk in? Now, when we actually created this space, we wanted people to use all of their senses to engage in the space. So how do they feel? So when they come in, we want them to be able to see all of the materials and finishes that actually connect them into the Western Queensland feel of the space. So we've got corrugated irons in there, we've got rustic timbers, we've got recycled timbers, we've got smooth stones, we've got truss timber roofing. So we want them to be able to feel and experience the space by bringing together visual cues that represent who they are as an organisation from the way that their story has been told. We want them to be able to smell things as well. So we've got really beautiful leathers in there and lots of nice earthy timbers. So we want them to be able to connect in with that sensory smell as well. And we want them to be able to touch. So the timbers are recycled. So they've got that beautiful rough sawn finish to them, which is actually really reminiscent of that rustic feeling that you'd expect in Western Queensland. So when people walk in there, they get a feeling and a sense of what it's like to do business with people. And even when we've spoken to the client post the completion of the project, now this project is nearly 2.5 years old, the client says that when people come in there, they get a sense of what it's like to do business with them. They can feel them, they can connect with them. So that's really bringing that whole brand persona to life so that people can experience you without actually having to get to know you on a deeper level. This is that first impressions. How do they count? And what's really interesting about this is it actually brought all of their brand to life and it connects people in with it. And if you think about it, there are many, many, many different accounting companies out there. So how do I know that that's the accounting company for me over something else? Well, there's going to be a story there. And when we talk about our brand, we're actually bringing together our culture and our values. And often when we're starting to find that place that we want to connect with our community, we're actually connecting in with people who have common stories with us. And so if you've got some association with Western Queensland or the country, or you like it, or you grew up in the bush, perhaps that's something that's going to resonate with you and you're going to feel connected with them because that feels familiar to you and you're starting to buy into their values and their story and their brand because it connects with you. So it's about finding your kind of people. It's about finding your tribe and connecting in with them. So when you've got all of these elements really clearly articulated, you can start to build a story. And that's your affinity that you then create with your clients and with your employees. And because people that are drawn to you, you're actually pulling them into your business and connecting them into you. So when we go deeper into the importance of brand, it's around the psychology and its connection to our purpose. And those elements are really important when we're trying to understand how we can create a workplace environment that physically represents who we are as an organization. It has that immediate sense of connection and that ability for people to actually get a sense of what it is to work with you and what it is that you stand for and how you want to be represented. So what we're starting to look at is in our course that we're creating, and it's going live in just a few short days now, is Your Workplace Future Ready. And we start to dive really deep into that psychology of brand. Excuse me. Dive really deep into that psychology of brand, what it is that your organization stands for, and what its connection is back into your purpose, as well as having your story and how well you can then execute that brand, lead you into your culture, and then it all comes together and how your workplace actually comes together. So the course is 6 modules with a number of different lessons in each of those modules. We've also got activities and workbooks there to help you understand and go deeper into creating your brand essence. And it helps you start to reimagine what the future of work is going to look like for you. 2020 has thrown so many curveballs at us, and it's really difficult for many organizations to navigate their way forward. What does the future of work look like for them? We're balancing people working at home, people working in the office, and we're not really sure how we're going to be tying all this back together. What's going to be the thing that's going to entice our employees back into the office? How are we going to keep people connected to us as an organization, to our purpose, to our brand, and to our culture? And so in going through all of this in our program, we're starting to look at how well-being is showing up for our workplaces into the future. We're also looking at the way that all of these elements come together to create an employee experience. How are we creating a really great aesthetic for our employees to connect into, and so that they're actually drawn to being into the workplace and we're keeping everybody connected? So this program is going to deliver on all the foundational pillars that together draw all this together and create a blueprint, which is going to support you in the productivity and enabling your performing teams. So the doors are opening for this one on the 20th of October. So head over to melissamarsden.com.au and sign up there for the wait list for Your Workplace Future Ready. Thanks very much for joining me today, and I'll chat to you again soon.